I love writing and I post a lot on LinkedIn, and I'm so appreciative when people take the time to comment. Tell me what they're thinking, how they're feeling. Last week I did this post about my mom, born the first days of the Great Depression in 1930. Small farm in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Family that just struggled to survive. But out of it, she learned to be resilient and creative, and she always found a way to make things happen, keep a roof over our heads. And she passed a lot of those values on to me, and I know I've passed them on to my daughters. Well, the Great Depression was 90 years ago, and it's still making an impression. And in my article, I talk about this pandemic. And well, this pandemic, it's not going to go away in 3 or 6 months. It's going to have a lasting impact that we might still be thinking about 90 years from now. In my post, I talk about a number of them, but the one I just want to focus on for a moment is that I think we're going to shift from this society where we feel entitled to things, where we put our head in a trough saying, what's in it for me? And have to go much more to a resilient society where we have to earn our way there. Share all we've earned versus continuing to borrow for more. And one post I really liked and one comment came from Angela Donnelly. And she said this: if we can't go outside, we go inside. The work to be done does not sit out there no matter how alluring. It sits on the inside, evaluating who we really are and how we show up. An inventory of our personal values and what and who is truly important to us. A reset in terms of what individuals hold as important. A move from the current discourse of rights to one of duties and responsibilities. That just might emerge and set us back on the right path. Angela, thanks for joining me. And I want to hear more about what you meant with that quote.
Thank you, Tony. That wisdom has been around for a long time, but now it is really wisdom that can help us to determine where we go from here. It really is about considering who we are and how we show up in everything that we do. And in a time where the world has ground to a halt for many people, it's a chance to really contribute, to see what's out there that we can do for each other in a time like this. And we've seen incredible examples of this coming out, but it's really a chance for each individual to take stock of their own selves.
So I love what you're saying. I guess my question is a lot of people feel like their feet's buried in cement, that they only knew to do it a certain way. They don't know what the future is going to be. How can you unshackle yourself from that and do what you're saying and talk about looking inside and looking for new opportunities, new ways to contribute?
So I think one good thing is to have got off of the hamster wheel to get your feet into the concrete, because prior to this, we were just running from one thing to the next. So to be feeling as though we're standing in concrete right now is probably a lot better than where we were before, because now we're forced to really be quiet and to be still and to consider what our options are. So through this time, we can really spend time which we didn't have in the past. Whether we meditating, whether we reading more books, whether we exercising more, just being more with ourselves and not constantly chasing in a group, in a pack, in a herd of other people what the next direction is that we're on.
Now, a lot of your work at Corethentic is working with big corporations, leadership teams, trying to get cultures to come together. And what advice can you bring to leaders out there who are trying to find a way to stay connected, take advantage of this time, just like you want individuals to take advantage of their time? What advice can you bring to them in terms of how they can make this a possibility versus an impossibility?
Absolutely. So the word you use there, connection, is key here, to stay connected with their people. But also as leaders, to use this time to be connected to their families, to their friends. Just because we're social distancing doesn't mean that we can't be really connected and make an effort to connect. And if we're doing that and we're balancing it with our connections with the people that we care about at work, this is a test on how much we care about the people that we work with every day. And as leaders, that is our role. Our role is to really care about the people and to help them to grow. So staying connected and showing your trust towards your people that they will come through this is really being put to the test now.
Do you think leadership in general is going to have the same, a much different approach coming out of this, knowing that we have to really work together versus the hierarchy that's maybe been in business in the past? Do you think it's going to change how decisions flow, how people collaborate?
I think it will change. I think it has to change. But I also think that we'll start to see leaders for who they are. There's been a lot of noise around that in the past, but I think for leaders to carry on being really focused on results at all cost, putting profit above people, I think to start doing that going forward is going to be a bit harder than it was in the past. We've seen some incredible leadership over the past couple of weeks where you don't expect it, where leaders have really become very benevolent and shown their organizations to be there for their communities. So now going forward, just when we start things up again, doesn't mean that we would go back to how we are before. We've started to think differently. We've started to just see the world in a different way, I think.
This is Angela Donnelly, Corethentic's her company. If you love what she has to say, she actually did a great podcast for me on Chatter That Matters. So if you want to go there, she's got so much to offer. Angela, what I loved about, not only thank you for doing your comment, but every time I hear you on stage, every time that I listen to you or talk to you about it, is that you really have a passion for humanity. You believe that so much good and greatness can come from human beings working together. I'm so happy that you set up your shop in Canada, because I know that coming out of this, there is going to be so many Canadian organizations that will look to people like you to say, we have to rebuild trust. We have to find that higher purpose. We have to find a way to be just like my mom, resilient, resourceful, and to make things happen. Angela, thank you so much for joining me in Chatter That Matters.
You're welcome, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.